Adio! Hey! Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. It's Tony Kurre. Just want to check in just for a few minutes here, and hope you had a fantastic weekend. Hope you watched lots of March Madness. Auburn Tigers out, Alabama's out, Jack State's out, UAB's out, the entire stinking state is out. How's your bracket look? I did sports radio for like 15 years. Actually closer to 20 years. I did some stuff at ESPN. So several people have reached out to me. They're like, how's your bracket look? And I don't know if they're mocking me because everyone's bracket always seems like it's just trash. And I always find out that whenever my bracket gets trashed early, it ends up having more points at the end because really it comes down to your Final Four, your Elite Eight, and your Sweet 16. Now, I only have 10 teams left in my Sweet 16, but I have 7 of my Elite Eight. Thank you, Auburn Tigers. And then I have my entire Final Four left, which means right now in this bracket challenge I'm doing is like 300 guys. I'm 15th, but I also have the maximum amount of points that are still obtainable through this whole thing. So despite the fact that my bracket looks like shit, I'm still in great shape. I hope your bracket looks great. Sorry, Auburn Tigers. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings the other day for the first round game. Place was packed. I would venture to guess now that you can probably make an argument that Auburn is more of a basketball school than a football school. Nothing against Coach Harsin. But right now, more people are interested in that basketball program just because it's been successful recently. We'll see what happens. And of course, in NATO, it's in Alabama. I don't know what. Listen, how in the world can you knock off a number 1 seed Baylor and a number 1 seed Gonzaga and then look like Alabama did towards the end of the season? That being said, they lost 4 of the last 6 games, so we'll see what happens. Weird weekend around here. I want to get into a little story here. I was kind of sleeping off and on. I get up really early on Saturday and Sunday mornings. It's kind of my meditation time. And I usually set my alarm for like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'll get up, do a little praying, do a little meditation. Then I kind of doze in and out. And I woke up yesterday morning before I went to Mass with Joel Osteen. You like Joel Osteen on TV? Joel is an interesting bird in that he does motivate you. It's one of those things where you start watching, and next thing you know, it's like 15 minutes in, but then he says the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. He throws some scripture in there. I think he's a good guy. He's got a good heart. He's always going to shed a little bit of a tear. He's got that goofy little smile on his face. It's always really pasty white, which is kind of strange. He always likes to start with a funny joke, and they're never funny. But he did mention something I thought was really interesting. I just want to talk about a little bit because through the pandemic, you got 2 different types of people. You got people that are really bringing it into the vest. They're getting very conservative. They're trying to control what they can control. And I totally get that. I understand that. And then you got the other people, and these are usually younger people. If you're in your 50s and 60s, you pretty much have to stay the line, man. Just try to get through this thing and go. And then you got your younger people who are quitting their jobs. They're doing mass resignation. They're discovering they want to do something totally different in their life. They're realizing that money is not everything. And they're going off and doing all these wonderful things, and they're living. And I think to his point, at least if you watched this past weekend, he was talking about running from things. We've been really good at doing that over the last couple of years. The one thing that I realized is I can't believe it's been stinking like 2.5 years since this whole thing started. Time is flying by. I always love when people say the best gift you can give me is your time because once it's gone, and you never get it back. And there's not a person out there, I don't know, again, I bring this up, I don't know if there's some time continuum, I don't know if it's because we always got our cell phones with us, I don't know what it is, but time is flying by right now. It's crazy how fast time is going. And it used to be time flies when you're having fun. Even when time sucks, even when your day sucks, time is flying by, which I guess is a good thing. With me, it seems like the more I'm trying to do, the faster time goes. But I can't just sit around all day because then I don't feel like I'm using the Lord's gift as a day to me the way I'm supposed to and live for His will. And so then I feel guilty. Then I got to get up and do something. I do some busy work. His point, though, was that we have a lot of people out there that procrastinate. I am certainly guilty as hell about that. For example, taxes. I know it's one of those things I got to do. I'm going to call Driscoll Gray, one of our great sponsors. Al Cooper, good morning to you. I had nice coffee with John Gray on Friday. And it's one of those things where every year I just got to sit down and do it. And then when I do it, I'm super glad I did. And it's never as hard as I thought it was going to be. And so what I can't get through myself, I know my Lord and Savior will pick it up and ride me through it and go. And his whole point was that we need to start living. We need to start getting after it. We got to stop waiting for things to happen to us, and we got to go out and create things. So much like the millennials, these youngsters who I think are tired of taking it to a different level that I certainly can't do at this point because I'm 56 years old. But there's got to be some type of a happy medium there. So get after it, man. If for anything else, if I can motivate anyone to do it today, get after it. I have a little windmill up on my kitchen table. It's one of those things that's directed into the sun as soon as the sun hits. And as soon as that thing starts spinning, it makes me just go, okay, well, all you need is a little sunshine. Sometimes it's up your hoo-ha, and you get after it. So I hope you get after it and you start living today a little bit. I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say there, but it just motivated me and got me on down here and got me going. Something else to the Ukrainian war. And I was kind of hoping this wouldn't happen because our business cycle, like time flies, things are happening so fast, and we're waiting for the next big story, and then, of course, everything kind of goes down a notch, and the Ukrainian war, we're not talking about it anymore. It used to be top of the line, top story, top everything, and it still is to an extent, but now it's getting to the point where, you know, it's third or fourth. We got other things going on in our lives, so we continue, and the war looks like it's going to go on for a while. I think Russian thought it was going to be over about 10 days, and that ain't happening. But there was a group of people, and people start digging, because there was a group of people over the last few years that have actually gone to meet Vladimir Putin, and they're kind of catching hell for it. Mickey Rourke was one of those guys. I don't really care about Mickey Rourke. Leonardo DiCaprio has met with Putin. Oliver Stone has met with Putin. He actually was doing some type of documentary with him. Gerard Depardieu met with him. Lots of rock and rollers have met with Putin. Steven Seagal, Jane Fonda, and then Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney actually met with Putin. There was a picture of him that came out yesterday where he's actually hugging Putin back in 2003 when he played a show in Moscow. And then, of course, he played the Ukraine in 2008. Now, all of these rock and rollers, or in this particular case, celebrities, have come out and said, listen, not condoning anything he's doing, but whenever you go to another country and you get a chance to meet the leader of that country, regardless of whether his ideologies are in line with yours or whether they're just totally out of whack, then I think out of respect, with all due respect, it's a good idea to meet them. I've always thought it was really interesting. Christy, good morning to you. Welcome back. I hope you had a great trip. I always thought it was interesting when people in the United States didn't want to go to the White House. You know, the White House invites you. First of all, it's just cool to be in the White House. I've been to the White House one time. It's super cool. Anytime a leader, whether, again, you agree with their ideologies, and again, we could put Putin in a totally different atmosphere, a totally different stratosphere. I think it's a good idea. What we don't realize is these leaders, regardless of how nasty or how bad or how vitriol they are or how nasty they are, they're still people. And not to say that we should give them any goodness, just not well, it's people. I got to meet this person. What I'm saying though is that I like to get inside their head a little bit, because even the worst people on the face of this earth are human. They still put their pants on the same way, and I think it's interesting. So if you get a chance to meet someone like that, I think you do that. Now, Putin's been in control of that country for over 22 years, or is it 20 years? And people are saying now that, quite frankly, people are getting tired of seeing his mug on television. Certainly, if you see someone on television for 20 years and things are good, he still looks good. And when he's not doing such a great job, it's probably time to get him out. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. But anyway, whenever you're making a correlation or a connection with somebody, you're like, oh, there's a picture of Paul McCartney with Putin. He must be a Putin supporter. Not so much. Again, it was 14, 15, 16 years ago. So I got Paul McCartney's back on this one. Anyway, it's talking out of my ass this morning. Happy birthday to Timothy Dalton, 007, 76 today, Matthew Broderick, 60, and Eddie Money. I want to tell you a quick story about Eddie Money. Eddie passed away 3 years ago. Would have been 73 today. I used to do the PA announcing for the World League of American Football, also known as the Birmingham Fire. That was the Maloof family, who also owns the Palms. They used to own the Sacramento Kings. I don't know if they still own that. I was talking to Philip Maloof, who owned the team, and he's like, hey, I got a good friend of mine that wants to come play a concert before one of our games. And I said, who is it? And he goes, Eddie Money. And I was like, holy crap, how cool is this, right? And so I got a chance to spend an evening with Eddie, and went out and had dinner and some drinks along with the Malou family, and then I brought him on stage. And people always ask me the question, the most commonly given question I get is what rock and rollers turned out just the way you thought they were going to be, what rock and rollers turned out to be total a-holes when you thought they were going to be nice, and what rock and rollers did you think were going to be a-holes that turned out to be nice. Told my David Crosby story, my Jimmy Buffett story. Eddie was one of those guys, much like George Thorogood, was exactly who I thought he was going to be. Super laid-back guy, funny guy, unassuming, somewhat humble, former cop, could not believe he was in the situation he was in, and just a super rock and roller. And he was one of those rock and roller guys where sometimes you meet people and you never get comfortable with them. And it takes like an entire evening. It's like a date. It's like you have to go out with him 3 or 4 times before you can start feeling comfortable around them. Eddie was one of those guys where I met him, shook my hand, I was like, it was on. It was good to go. There's a lot of rock and rollers that are really distant. They have security around them. They have posses around them. They have people around to make sure they'll be close and blah, 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 blah. But Eddie was just like a totally cool guy. So happy belated to Eddie Money, who would have been 73 years old today. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you get after it. We'll be back again just Thursday morning. Dr. Josh Claypo is going to be back with me, the Kurre and Claypo Show. We're on for like an hour and a half every Thursday. We also are on Fox 6 at 9:30 coming up on Thursday morning, so we'll look forward to doing that. Thomas Franklin, good morning to you. And we got killer shows all this week on Tony Kurre Radio. I wanted to mention we have Dark Side of the Pooch, which is one of my favorite shows with Dr. Rab Stewart from the Rossbridge Animal Hospital. That show airs at noon and 8 today. We have Adapter Parish with Adaptogens Dr. Alex Hubline and Dr. Josh Claypo. That goes on tomorrow at noon and 8. We have Livewire Wednesday brought to you by Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2828. That goes on Wednesday. Mission Minded with our good friend Michael Coleman, the executive director from the Jimmy Hill Mission. He joins us every Wednesday. We got that show. Then Blues Almighty with Austin Hanks on Thursday. The Damon Johnson Show on Friday. And also Win in Rome with Stuart Rome from, of course, the Woodhouse Day Spa, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. He joins us on Friday at 1 and 7, and then the Classic Hip Hop Show. If you want to hear any of these shows, download the Tony Kurre Radio app, Tony Kurre Radio app. It's free. You'll be doing me a huge favor by downloading the app. Tens of thousands of people have already done it. Download the Tony Kurre Radio app. It's classic rock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's killer with all these great shows that are fresh and new all week. But if you can't do that and you want to listen on demand, search wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Tony Kurre Radio, again, Kurre with a K, and there's hundreds of shows that you can binge, listen to whenever you want on Spotify, and it's free and it's super cool. So check out Tony Kurre Radio. And again, thanks for all your listening and thanks for watching this morning here on Tony Kurre Radio. And I hope you have a fantastic week, brother and sisters. Love you.